Welcome to Kicking and Eating, where we talk about martial arts and what's happening. I'm your host, Shihan Chef Yah Sigidi. On in this third episode of Kicking and Eating with the Warrior Queen, Odette, Sidagoo, Russell. We're going to be preparing the sweet chili dressing, all right, for our meatballs on today's Kicking and Eating. Let's go.
Kicking and eating. We talk about martial arts and what's happening. Kicking and eating. We bricking bread on the spot thing. Kicking and eating. Kicking and eating with my guests, that's a sure thing. Kicking and eating. Our praises due to the one that made all things. So why did they call you Pat? Was that your middle name or?
No, I just told people to call me Pat. My name is Odette, and it was rare, and I was like, I don't like Odette. Call me Pat. And I had the whole high school calling me Pat. That's the power of a person. A person can say their name and.
But you know what the thing about it is? I love what you just said because they are. I don't know how many, but I know there are a lot of young girls out there who go through similar situations, and they may not have that Mutakabir, or they may not have a person like your husband, but the thing with me as a father with two girls, if I heard about this, oh my goodness, I would have to definitely step to whoever it is, and you have to make your presence known, so I definitely love what you just said. Your story that is so intriguing and it's so inspiring. Thank you so much.
But one of the things I do want to tell you is a lot of it I didn't share with my dad, who my dad was an amazing. He would have gave his life for my life. And if he knew half of what I went through, he would have been so disappointed in me not sharing it with them. So one of the things I'm going to share with you is read the energy of your daughter's change. Okay. Because things might be occurring that they don't feel comfortable to tell you, and they're changing, and you want to, and then you're like, okay, something's changed. I need to know why. You need to talk to me, and Daddy will fix it, and I won't be mad at you. You know,
one of my daughters went through something. One of the guys from her school, was doing something similar, but it wasn't as extreme. And I definitely had to talk to him and be like, yo, that's my daughter.
And I
you
think
don't go there.
You're another kid. So I think for me, this is a man. I didn't want my dad to get hurt. It wasn't like a kid and my dad could talk to him and but this is another man. So it was a drug dealer. He was shooting people, so I was like, I have to protect my family. I'll do, you got, no, I'm not interested. Or you're going to have to shoot me, but you're not going to go after my dad. That was my thing. And I had to be tough enough. I just had to deal with it. I had to not put my family in danger, but at the same time, not demean myself, not so
definitely
pretty crazy.
Wow.
Okay, your next question.
Tell us about having your first son, LaGuardia and everything. How was that?
Well, I had my first son at 21 years old. That was at an age where all my friends were still partying. So that was really hard. It felt a little lonely. That was also when I started training at 18. So I wasn't competing yet. I was still a very young rank. I was probably like, so once I went into LaGuardia, let me just fill in the blank if it's okay. Once I went into LaGuardia, I met my husband. I started training with him right away. And, and when.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Do you think that I'm looking at it from the perspective, do you think that you were at a young age, you met your husband, but at the same time you were going through a lot of stuff with this guy? do you think one of the reasons that you got so close to your husband was because he represented a figure of protectiveness, and at the same time he was a good person? Do you think that was one of the reasons?
No, no. And the reason why is because I believe I was with my husband in another life.
Okay, all right.
Because I had some premonition that we were together and we had a lot of sons. And he was whatever time it was like maybe 1,000 years ago or whatever. But whatever time it was, he would go out and go to battle and come back. And he had a high position. And I also had a high position in our village or whatever. And one time he left to go to battle and our village got raided and I was killed. And so this was, I believe, our chance to finish that love story.
Okay.
So I would have found him anyway.
Definitely.
But one of the main things that I want to get across is my husband won't be with me always.
Yeah.
So it is really me and up to me to know how to defend and protect myself.
Yes.
So that experience didn't help me find a man to take care of me. That experience helped me find ways to protect myself, to know how to protect myself.
Okay.
Because and I maintain that because I didn't run to daddy. You know, I didn't go to another guy to fix it. I'm gonna have to fix it myself. But then when it involved my sister and I had Mutakabir, you know what I'm saying? Like, duh, come on.
What does Kinyamba means?
It means ruler of self, ruler of himself, slave to God.
Wow, it's funny because when you said that, I said like the word Islam, I self Lord and Master, control of oneself.
But it's not Islamic, it's African. I can't tell you. I don't know which dialect though.
No, when you said about protecting yourself, the word that came into my mind was Islam. I self Lord and Master, the control of oneself.
I'm sorry.
So no, it's fine. Once you said that, that's the word that came in. That's the word that kind of came in my mind. You know, that was funny you said that. So after that, tell us about FIT and why FIT.
I always love fashion. Like I told you, once I got into out of the hood and I was going to Queens, I was decked out. I would get dressed up. I was already tall. I'm 5'9", but I wasn't very, very thin like the models that look all emaciated. I liked a little shape, and so I loved fashion. And I actually went to FIT not for fashion, but more for marketing. So it's fashion marketing aspect of it. And once I graduated from there, I went more on business. So, which was, I focused on the marketing aspect. And I think what was amazing to me is if you think of, do you remember the pet rock or the mood ring? Do you ever remember those things?
Yeah, I remember the mood rings. Rings.
So a pet rock literally was a rock. They probably found a bunch of these rocks. And then they would put it in a case and say, this is your new pet. And you could give it a name. And you could take it to work. And they sold millions of them. I know. Mood ring was something that had some type of stone that based on your temperature would change color. They sold that. And the only reason why they were able to do it was based on the marketing. And they were able to convince these people that this thing like a rock or this thing like a ring had a lot of power, had a lot of purpose, and could soothe your life. Buy this rock, put it on your desk. You're having a bad day, talk to the rock or the chia pet or whatever those really stupid, worthless things that they made millions of dollars. And I'm like, okay, that's the business I want to get into, marketing. So whatever it is, whether it's fashion, whether it's food, whether it's all kinds of stuff, a rock, if you have the skill to market it.
Market, right. How many years did you do FIT? Well, you had FIT?
2 years.
2 years?
So I
All right.
went to LaGuardia for 2 years and got my associate, and then went to FIT for 2 years under a scholarship. Everything was grants and scholarship. And FIT, my bachelor's of science in marketing and fashion industry. And so I graduated with a bachelor's of science with no student loans.
That's dope. So in 2010, you decided what to go into health psychology?
Yes. So I found that although my love was marketing, that I had a knack of getting people to talk to me and pulling information out of people and getting them to feel better about themselves. And so I realized, so I remember I was always training. Once I actually started martial arts when I was 9, and I started when I spent the summer in Jamaica, and then I just want to go back and say that. And then when I came back to the States, my father continued me training martial arts, and I did for a year until I didn't like it. My instructor at the time was a little strict, and I wasn't into that mode of discipline. So I stopped, and then I started again at 18 when I was with my husband. And so I've been training nonstop. And when you're with a lifer, this is what he does. He eats, sleeps, and breathes martial arts. He's on the toilet training. Okay, literally. So your question is never how often do you train. Your question is when do you not train? That's your question.
Yes.
So my life became martial arts, and I'm always about empowering. You know, I was about I'm going to be the best of myself. No one's ever going to take advantage of me. I'm never going to feel threatened again. If somebody threatened me like that, I'm going to take them out and call it a day. You know, and dealing with this 4 years of anguish, I was never going to deal with that again. And then just imagine if that man touched me and I broke his nose, or you know, or I ripped out his groin. You know what I'm saying? That would have been it. I wouldn't have had to deal with 4 more years of that. And so there was always like an analogy in my thinking that I need to get better, and I need to learn more and be the martial artist to make my husband and the system proud. So very early I started training women. My husband is a Muslim. So we were doing a lot of activities, martial art activities in the Muslim community, where Muslim women needed female martial artists to train them.
Yes.
So that's where it really started. Where from when I was pregnant with Kiyumba, I was started my. Now the interesting part of being a teacher. First of all, I'm that type of teacher that I don't believe that there are bad students. I believe that there could be bad teachers, unless a teacher is stuck with too many students. But I believe that you need to find a student's learning curve and use that
proper way to teach them.
Yes. So I am a phenomenal teacher, and the thing about teaching is you can't teach what you don't understand. So you really need to understand what you're doing. So I had to understand martial arts. I had to not just understand the big picture. I had to understand the in-between moves and the reasoning behind the in-between moves. And by me understanding it, I lived it. I became more natural.
How did you know that? Tell me something. How did you know that? Because a lot of you got a lot of younger sisters out there. How did you know that your husband was the right person? Was it a situation? Was it something he said? You know, how did you know that?
My husband's fine. I was like, damn. I'm gonna get that. As a matter of fact, me and my friend, we bet who was gonna get him first. Mischievous person. I'm not dealing with a lot of guys, but that I was gonna fight, you know. And so when he started talking to me, I was like, jackpot. But but I was never desperate, you know. So I was like, yeah, you have to work a little bit for this brother. But I was leaving breadcrumbs.
All right. Oh, that is dope. That is dope. Did you guys have a what they call a traditional wedding, or what was it like?
Nope, we didn't have a traditional wedding. The craziest part, he said when he met me that if we're still together in 5 years, he will marry me. And I was like, that is so unromantic. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's the worst marriage proposal I've ever heard. But that was the time here. You know, he was a gladiator. He's not from this dimension. He's from another time.
He's from the warrior dimension. The warrior dimension.
It's like you don't even take boots off. You know, I mean, he's a gladiator. He walks forward all the time. So that was the best I was going to get. And that's the thing is I'm blessed because my husband loves 100%. So there's nothing about him. He either likes you or he don't like you. And if he loves you, he gives.
Yeah.
And so.
And plus with warriors, a lot of times you have to earn that respect, and you have to earn that, you know, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. I appreciated his candidness because it was this was him. This is who it is.
Anyway,
I'm not a suit person. I'm a sweatsuit person. I wear sneakers all the time because all the time. I have nobody to impress. He would spend money on food and make sure our lights were on, and we had everything we needed in the house before he buy clothes for himself.
Because those are necessities: food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah, he wasn't into nice fancy cars to impress other women. He didn't care about that. He was so secure. He didn't. He is a man's man. I am truly blessed. We've been together going on 41 years.
So you've been training over 40 years. What keeps you going? What's the motivation?
Martial arts is not about physicality. Martial arts is life. It is mental and it's spiritual. And the more you grow in martial arts, the more you grow in yourself.
Yes.
The more you learn more of who you are and what makes you tick. And the more the inner peace shines inside. So it's kind of like the more I love myself, the more I learn to love everything else that's going on around me. And the more I learn to not even worry about what I can't control.
So it's just like when the neophytes enter the Egyptian mystery system, or the Egyptian temples, and one of the things that said on top was to know thyself. You know, so once you know thyself, everything is peace, and everything is one. So so you can say from that aspect.
But let me explain to you why that's so important. You are given with a gift that you can kill in so many different ways within seconds.
Yes.
And that comes with a major responsibility. And the major responsibility is to be able to walk in the divine light of peace, love, and tranquility. If you use that to hurt, to manipulate, to dictate, then it's kind of like you're opening yourself to a dark side. This is a real live Star Wars.
Yes.
You know, and it's so funny. Because when I train girls, and I train a lot of young girls, and I'm training them, and they might come to me very naive and timid and stuff like that, and then they learn and they smell in their own piss, you know, where they're like, oh man, power, I can hurt somebody, and then they go, and then their demeanor changes. Where I said, Luke, you're coming into the dark side, come back.
Because that's ego. That's ego talking.
Yeah. I start to restructure them. I said, no, you cannot use this for bad.
Yes.
You use this for good.
Yes. Because the more power you receive is the more the ego pulls you into that other side. Because rising, yes, but because you're elevating yourself. You know, the Kundalini's rising, the spiritual energies are rising.
And that's the thing for me is I believe that a lot of dark energy can develop a life of its own if you give it too often.
Yes, if you feed it.
So you have to be really careful not to lean into that side. And I'm pure divine light. Okay.
Yeah.
But like I said, I believe that I am accountable for everything that I do, and I have to, and nothing is you get away with nothing. It's all recorded.
Yes.
It's all recorded. And now it doesn't mean that it's never forgiven, because it is forgiven if you move into say, oh wow, I did effed up things as a teenager. You know, I hurt people. You know, so I'm like, okay, I need to fix this. You know, and so it's like I know better now. There's a maturity, and I'm using the martial arts to help other people find that spark themselves.
To the one that made all things. Jumbo, 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 jumbo. Big up the ranks that's hitting like gumbo. Podcast lit like power with a jitsu. EP down from bouncy to bolo. Fire with the topics when I interview. It's easy to gritty like sharp as Ginsu. Each one teach one, then we continue. Build and destroy all negative around you. Spilling all the beans so we could grow and feed you. Like and subscribe so we could later hit you.